Well, I wonder what juicy stories we're gonna hear about today. Hey, namaskar everyone, how are you? Hopefully everybody's been doing fantastic. Listen, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by and checking it out. I hope you're gonna stick around. If you're already a subscriber, thank you and welcome back. Now, as always, welcome back means we are on another adventure, and that also means that you're gonna wanna know where we are and what we're doing. So let's start with where we are. Well, I'm still in Altoona, Pennsylvania. You know, I was off this weekend, and what better place to spend the weekend in Altoona, Pennsylvania? Well, anyway, no, it's been a long time since I've been here in Altoona, so I figured I'd do a little camping this weekend and check out some of the exciting things Altoona has to offer. But what we're gonna do today, the adventure for today, is we are going to talk a little bit about and go visit the gravesite of Hollywood's gossip queen, or some would say gossip gargoyle. So if you're ready for today's adventure, I suggest you get off the couch, you get ready, and let's go.
Hedda Hopper.
Who's Hedda Hopper?
Oh, she's a famous columnist, darling, and she's going to do a story on how Mommy and Daddy first met. Oh, dear.
What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so nervous I don't know what There she is! Honey, now mind your manners in front of Hedda Hopper, see? Okay. And for goodness sake, don't say anything about her funny hat.
Yes,
Hello, Miss.
It's so good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
You remember Lucy?
Why, of course. How are you, Lucy?
Fine, Miss Hopper. This is our little Ricky.
Well, hello, little Ricky. I have a granddaughter just about your same age.
How do you do, Miss Upper? I'm not supposed to say anything about your funny hat.
Oh, that's all right. Everybody makes fun of my hats. I'd be furious if they didn't. You know, Bob Hope says it's the only hat in Hollywood that gives him hay fever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, for starters, we know we're in Altoona, Pennsylvania. We are at Rose Hill Cemetery. And there's the gates. I don't know if there's, I think that's a side road. I think this is gonna be the only entrance into this cemetery. So Altoona, downtown Altoona is that way, which when we get to the top of this hill, it's kind of a nice sight. But here is the main entrance of the cemetery. Okay, now I said we're going to talk about Hollywood's gossip queen, and that would be none other than who? Hedda Hopper. That's right, Hedda Hopper. Now you don't know that name, right? That's because in 1885, I believe, she was born Elda Furry. I hope I got that last name right. I think it's Furry. I want to say Fury, but I believe it's Furry. Elda Furry. And this is a hill. It doesn't look like much of a hill, but it's a little hill. And I'm going to show you exactly where this gravesite is. It's so simple. We're going to walk straight up this hill. But yeah, Elda Furry. She was actually born on May 2nd, I believe, 1885. Now, she lived a normal life. She grew up in Holidayburg, Pennsylvania. That's where she was born, but she grew up in Altoona, Pennsylvania as well. Hollidaysburg is not far from here. Normal family. Her dad was a butcher, you know, growing up in Pennsylvania. Now, I've heard a couple stories, and this isn't an old cemetery. I mean, there's probably some older dates in here, but it's a smaller cemetery. It goes up there and such. Not really old, so you're not going to find a lot of you know, really, you know, those elaborate stones. But I've heard a couple stories about Hedda. I heard that she ran away, but that didn't make sense to me. I think she just left home. I think she left home at 18, and she wanted to become an actress. She wanted the starlight. So she headed to Broadway. Broadway New York. And she did just that. I will show you some of the cemetery. You don't want to be looking at my face the whole time. Well, if you come here in the winter, there's no maintenance here. So make sure you got your chains on your tires. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen that sign. That looks new too. But yeah, see what I'm talking about? There's no real old stones in this cemetery. But she did make her first Broadway debut in 1908, and that would have been the Pied Piper. I don't think she starred in a whole lot of Broadway shows. I think maybe 6 or 7. But she did meet an actor there, and that would have been the Wolf Hopper. Now we know where that last name came from. Yeah, she met the Wolf Hopper, and they were married in 1913. I was looking for some older stones. Yeah, nothing real old that I'm seeing. So 1913, they were married. They did get divorced, and I believe it was right around 1924. They did have one son. She kept the last name though, Hedda Hopper. So she did keep that last name, and that's where that last name came from, is from the Wolf Hopper. So yeah, like I said, she starred in about 6 or 7 Broadway shows. It is muggy out here today. This is actually pretty marked. They got signs up pretty good here. So we know she starred in Broadway. But where did that whole Hollywood film industry, come from? Well, we're getting to that. If we go to 1916, that's where she made her first film debut, and I think that was the Battle of the Hearts. Now these were silent films, and she starred in quite a bit of silent films, more of supporting roles. So yeah, those were all the silent films. And there's a little marker over there. Yeah, not too hard. It's a one-way in, one-way out cemetery here. Huh. Wow. Yeah, it's nice back here. It is muggy though. Okay, now let's get to talking films. Now, I just noticed right here, there's a sign that says Hedda Hopper. It's right there. You're not going to be able to miss her gravesite. There's where we walked from, right down there, the gates. So you walk up here, you continue walking, and you'll actually see the Y. It splits right here. You go to that left, and there's Hedda Hopper. But in 1929, she made her first talking film debut, and that was in Girls Gone Wild. Now, I don't think that's the Girls Gone Wild that's now, but that was the role. Now, she wanted a different... Where did Hedda come from, right? That's what you want to know. Where did Hedda come from? She actually went to go see a numerologist, and that is how she became Hedda Hopper. So now we know where the first name came. Now we know where the second name came from as well. She did have a friend, and I use that term lightly because it did change in the later years, and that was Luella Parsons. Luella Parsons was she was a gossip. She had a gossip column in the paper and stuff like that. And what would happen is Hedda, being that she was in that like Hollywood light, would give Luella some gossip about what was going on in the industry and such, and in return would write really good things about Hedda. So that's the start of how she became the gossip queen of Hollywood. 1936, she hosted a gossip radio show, and then eventually launched her own gossip column to compete with Luella Parsons, and that's where that friendship kind of, you know, they had problems the rest of the time. I think even in some of the shows, because she still did movies, she still acted and stuff, but as Hedda Hopper. So she was still acting, but that was her name, Hedda Hopper. She starred as Hedda Hopper in anything that else that she did. And I think there's even some I want to say oh my goodness, I don't know if it was in the what was the hillbilly show way back then, Hollywood Hillbilly, I forget what the show it was, but I know that she would make jokes about Luella Parsons in there. I forget what the heck that name of that show is. Now look, if we keep walking, you'll see a little plaque. I'm gonna try to find out. Oh, you know what it was? You know what it was? The Beverly Hillbillies. She's in the Beverly Hillbillies, and I think she used the line of she handed a book or something. She said her name was Luella Parsons, so it was like a kick to Luella. But one show that I know for sure, because I've actually seen it, was she starred in I Love Lucy, and the one I remember is it was Lucy, it was Ricky, and it was little Ricky. Lucy's running all around, and she's frantic because Hedda Hopper's coming to interview how Lucy and Ricky met, you know, and it's a whole process. But the one line in there is Lucy told little Ricky not to make fun of her silly hat, because if one thing Hedda Hopper was known for was her extravagant hats that she used to wear. Now, I'm making this video right now. I may post that at the beginning, that little clip from I Love Lucy. So maybe that'll be in there, maybe it won't, but you'll know when I know. But here is the gravesite of Hedda Hopper right here. Again, let me walk over here though. There's the view. I think there's some windmills. Let me see if I can get over here and show you a little bit. Hold on. There's downtown Altoona right there. And if you look on top of the hill, there's a bunch of windmills up there. But look at that view right there. Yeah, downtown Altoona. Yep, this is where Hedda Hopper grew up. But back to Hedda Hopper's gravesite. There's her gravesite. Hedda Hopper, trying to get out of the thing. Yeah, Hedda Hopper. And notice, yeah, 1890, 1966, right there. I'm gonna pause that there so you can read it. Now see, everything I'm gonna tell you right now, everything that I investigated said 1885 is when she was born. This is saying 1890. So I guess we'll go with 1890 since it's on the grave marker here to 1966. Okay, so all right, but here's the Hedda Hopper, daughter of David Margaret Furry. Her given name was Elda. She changed to Hedda. Raised in Hollidaysburg in Altoona. Broadway shows, Hollywood. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't tell you either. She actually has a star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood. And right here, they did have a son, William Hopper, and he played in the Perry Mason TV shows. Now, I was wondering, it says right there, so if you paused it and were reading this, I always wondered, I was like, that's crazy that she has Hedda Hopper on here and not Elda Furry. But so she went through that name. She kept that name, Hedda Hopper. She kept it all the way till the end. And I believe up here, if you look, I think this is her father and her mother right here. Yeah, Margaret. I'm trying to get that shadow, man. But there's Margaret Furry, and then her father, David Furry. So it's a nice little off the beaten path stop to make if you're into that golden age of Hollywood. I think so. I think it's neat. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. Now, she did pass away. I think she passed away, and this was another thing too, and it's in there. It's marked in there. She passed away from double pneumonia. She passed away in California. But I think it says right here, I was wondering why she wasn't buried in like Hollywood or California, because that was her, you know, she loved Hollywood. She loved that gossip. She loved that. But I think she wanted to keep to her roots. She loved Pennsylvania. I mean, I love Pennsylvania. It's probably my favorite state, to be honest with you. I do love Pennsylvania. But I guess she wanted to be buried here with her family and where her roots you know, are from. But yeah, Hedda Hopper, and yeah, because it says right there, she wished to be buried in the family plot of her hometown of Altoona, PA. So yeah, again, little off the beaten trip, but the queen of gossip in Hollywood is buried right here in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So if you ever do come to Pennsylvania, if you ever do come to Altoona, make sure to stop here and check this out. This is a really interesting piece of history, you know, especially because it has to do with that golden age of Hollywood. But yeah, the cemetery again, not very big. You're not going to get lost back here. It's easy to find. That's why I walked it. I walked directly from the gate, and yeah, the gate's right down there. There's parking. You know, I parked over there, but you could park wherever you can park. Just park off to the side, and yeah, nice little trip. But I want to thank everybody for coming on today's adventure, and I hope that brought something new to you that you didn't know about. So I'll hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you would. I'd appreciate that. And leave a comment. I read them all. I definitely read them all, and I try to answer all of them. But I'm going to leave you with, until I see you on the next adventure, wherever that may be, Fed Malanga.